Hey guys, welcome back. So today we are going to be talking about the Nova3d Bene4 3D printer. I believe that's how it's pronounced. I could be wrong. I was trying to figure it out. My wife's like, I think it's Bene, which she said means good in Italian. I don't know. So pardon me if I'm incorrect. I'm going to take this off like Mr. Rogers because it is warm in this room right now. So put this to the side. Whew. All right. So I've got my laptop right here with some notes that I've taken because this is going to be the review of this printer. My last video, I basically put it together, started my first print, etc. So if you're curious about any of those steps, previous video, I'm going to try to keep this one sort of short. All right, so let's see where to start. So I've been able to do a number of tests, a bunch of tiny little pieces, a whole heap of small parts that overall, everything has come out really, 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 really good. Really good. All the prints are awesome. So I don't know how they're going to show up in this camera here, but I mean, they look beautiful. All the little details, everything all came out great. So, I mean, as far as reviews go, the actual print quality, everything's been very good. The printer itself seems well built. It's not quite as nice as like a Formlabs machine, which if you've seen my older videos, I have a Formlabs Form 2 printer, which is a very, very nice printer. And this is not on the same level, but this is still very nice. I think the prints actually look equal to the Formlabs prints. The print area is a little smaller, obviously, but the print quality is fantastic. So, and this is way cheaper. But so we've got the the basic overall, the parts are made well. And if you saw my last video when I opened this, you saw me pick it up by the actual tower just to kind of show what was going on, and no issues, nothing bent or flexed or anything like that. This little platform here is, I just got resin on my finger, gross. The little platform here is pretty easy to calibrate at first with the initial setup, which you could see in my last video of me setting it up. Didn't take very long to calibrate, and it hasn't gone out of calibration yet. Of all the prints I've done, it hasn't gotten weird or gotten crooked or anything yet, so that's really good. The actual touchscreen, which is not plugged in right now so I can't show you, but I'll put in some video here, is super responsive, really, really fast. There was no lag as far as the screen goes. Everything worked really great. Very sensitive to touch, so plus there. The actual menus themselves seem easy to navigate. I didn't have any issue trying to find what was where. That was pretty intuitive, which is good. The only issue I had with that so far is that I had an issue where I saved a file. I exported a sliced file from the program and then brought it to the printer by way of USB. And when I tried to load it, I had a couple other files on there, and those files showed up, but the file that I just saved, I wasn't showing up as it was saved. I was just getting a random file with like a truncated kind of like just a single character on as a file name, and I couldn't figure it out. I thought maybe I pulled the USB out of my computer too soon. I went back and resaved it, did it again, and it turned out that the file name was too long. So if the file naming is too long, the printer just like freaks out, doesn't notice it. I think it would still print the file because the file was technically still there and it showed it, but there was just one letter, so I couldn't tell what it was. But I went in and I shortened the file name, and then it was fine. Everything was totally good there. So file name, if you get one of these, just remember the file name can't be too long, or you might not be able to tell what file you're looking at. Yeah, it's back to the platform inside, the little build platform here. It's a really simple mechanism to remove it. Just to unscrew this, pull it out, and then take your parts off, and it plugs back in, and it seats itself pretty accurately every time. Like I never had any issue with it being on there wrong or crooked or not lining up. So plus to that, of all the prints I've done like organic stuff that's like ZBrush kind of characters. I'll get some close-ups of these in a minute. A ton of robot parts from I did the 8D8 droid from Jabba's Palace. This was modeled by Dave Moog. I've got the torso here and all the tons of tiny little parts for this droid. Let me get one here on a pair of tweezers. Like this little guy here is so little. I don't know if it'll show up on camera. I got another video of this. I'll show a clip of it. It's tiny, and the detail is beautiful. And it's not even on the highest setting. This printer has 2 higher settings than what I printed everything at. So Yeah, tiny little pieces, beautiful detail. Very, very happy with that. Resin tank is easy to manage. It comes out easily, and it has a pour spout kind of built into the corner, so it's easy to pour the resin out if you need to clean your tank. The actual resin that they sent me, which is the Nova brand resin, has worked really well. Obviously, like all these prints came out great. I had no issues with the actual print quality. Everything looks really good. So it's not the printer, but the resin is pretty good. Another thing too that's kind of interesting is that, when you get a printer like this, they send a bunch of extra stuff like the flush cutters and gloves and all these little accessories, and the stuff they sent was actually really good. Like it's kind of a petty thing, but my Formlabs printer came with a big bag of black nitrile gloves, and like half of those gloves would rip when I just putting them on. They weren't too small. They would just in the process of putting them on, they would rip. I went through so many pairs, but the pairs I got with this printer are incredibly durable. They've held up really well. I just keep using the same pair over and over, and they just keep working. So that's awesome. And the next thing that I kind of had an issue with is, I don't think is the printer's fault, but connecting to my Wi-Fi has been weird. Like the Wi-Fi shows up here. It can see it. Everything's fine. But when I try to connect the printer to my Wi-Fi, it doesn't accept it. And I think that has to do with some firewall setting on my actual router. So that's something I'll have to sort out. It's not really a big deal to me. I typically like to use USB anyway, but it is kind of a nice feature to be able to send a print from your computer from the computer to the printer without having to like deal with a card or anything. But it's okay that I haven't used it yet. I'll try to get that sorted for a future thing. I think it'll work. I think that's a problem on my part. So yeah, overall, the printer, I 2 thumbs up. It's awesome. Again, all the parts are just so good. They look wonderful. Everything's been great. But here's where we get into the little bit of the ugly issue, the thing that I had the most problem with. This printer, the Nova3d, has its proprietary software and like a certain file format. It's called the CWS file extension. I don't know what that stands for. And their slicing software, as far as actually slicing things, it works fine, but the actual interface is very clunky. It doesn't have like the very rudimentary basic things that most slicing software can do. It does in the most clumsy way ever. Like you can't just turn on a gizmo and rotate your object around. Like if you put in your slicing software, you can't just turn it and set it up. It's like you have to click these little buttons or dial in the actual degrees of rotation you want it. It's just a huge pain. And a huge thing that's an issue with resin printers is that in that software, you cannot hollow your model out. So I ended up coming up with this whole workflow where I was using ChituBox, bringing in my model, I set up my ChituBox profile to match this printer size. And I bring my file in and then rotate it however I wanted it to go, because ChituBox does it really fast. And then I would hollow it in ChituBox, punch holes, whatever, and then export an STL. And it almost worked, but when I bring it into the Nova software, when I would go to slice, it would get errors sometimes. So I had to use Windows 3D Builder. I'm using a Windows computer, so there's a free software on Windows computers called 3D Builder. And you can use that to fix issues with the model. So I bring it in there, open it, and it would say, hey, there's some issues, and I'd hit repair. It would repair it, and then I bring it into the Nova software, and it'd all be lined up where I wanted it, and then I'd use the Nova software to actually slice the files, and it worked great. Like once I did all that, the actual slicing in the Nova software works fine. But again, the interface is really not great, and they need to improve that. There is a plugin for one of the Nova Elfin, which is like another one of the resin printers. They have made a plugin that I found on let's see, I found on some website. I can't remember. I'll put a link below, and you can put this plugin into ChituBox and export the files that will work on these printers. So again, it's for a different model printer, but it uses the same file format. So I'm going to experiment with that. I haven't done it yet, but in the near future, I'll be doing that. So if it works well, I'll probably put an update here, maybe just in this description, or maybe make a video. I don't know yet. But yeah, that's the bummer thing, is the software is just really, really clunky. So I've had to have this weird workflow. It's not that bad, but it is a couple extra steps to just do something that I should just be able to just set up and go. And it's unfortunate that it doesn't work that easily. Again, the actual hardware here it's been awesome so far. I don't know, again, long term, I don't know, but so far, really, really, really good. Very happy with it. And I'm intending to do a lot more prints on this, so obviously I'll keep you guys posted, and I will be experimenting with different resins and so forth. So if I try something that works really great or doesn't work, I will obviously let you know. But I don't think this review needs to be that much longer, so I think I'm just going to call it there. But yeah, again, the prints they're just really, really, really good. Really good. Looking really, really good. Beautiful, beautiful prints. I don't know if this detail shows up here, but I'll put up some other video of these parts. Like there's some here. Let me get my tweezers. They're like all these tiny little connector pins, and all of the little knurling on these little pieces here is just phenomenal. Let me see if I can get this one close. I know I'm trying to get out of here, guys. I just said I was going to go, and now I'm like, I don't know if this will work, but there's like tiny little detail on this part it's all there. It's all there, and it looks perfect. So yeah, print quality is just beautiful. And again, not even the highest setting, so that's kind of amazing. But yeah, if you're looking at one of these Nova3d printers, I think it's good. I'm happy with the printer itself. I'm hoping that this ChituBox thing works, and just to make it a little easier. But I'm mostly concerned with how the prints come out. So if I have to do an extra step and I still get a good print, I'm okay with that. But yeah, so that's it. I'm gonna get out of here. I got another video to make probably tonight, so I'm gonna go. And thanks for stopping by. I will see you kids soon.